So I met this lady over a Zoom panel discussion. I got to be part of a panel where we discussed, where we discussed how nonprofits should approach COVID-19 and other sorts of crises. And it was less than a week into the California lockdown, and I think we were still stunned. And the situation was definitely something new, and she gave some awesome advice, and one stuck with me. Now, it was really cool because it definitely affected businesses and organizations in the same way. And the quote that she said was, "Now is the time leaders rise." Isn't that amazing? So I wanted to welcome, let me make sure I can bring her in here. Please welcome April Diaz. April, how are you?
I am alive. We're joking a lot these days, like we're living our best life. This is totally amazing. So yeah, we're breathing. We're okay. We're hanging in there.
What's
How about
the saying?
you?
6 feet apart is better than 6 feet below. I think we can.
That's a fantastic saying. Yes, you should tweet that and tag it and all of the things. Yes, the 6 feet apart. It's so hard. It's so hard. But we're
is.
doing it.
I was taking a walk today and saw a neighbor. I'm like, I wanted to give him a hug.
I know. You're just like, hi.
Exactly, and he ran away.
Totally. Step off the sidewalk, wave from a distance, keep going. Yeah, it sucks.
But at least we have Zoom, and we make it happen. I mean, how many happy hours are there now for just Zoom? So
I'm grateful for the technology.
So you're the CEO and founder of Ezer and Company. Tell me, what exactly do you do at Azer and Company?
Yeah, so we're just a year old. We're brand spanking new, really. We actually celebrated our first birthday the day that California went into quarantine and stay at home, shelter in place, all of those orders. So it was a memorable first birthday. But we are a coaching and spiritual direction and transformational resource company. And the song that we sang, the thing that we're most committed to and passionate about is helping women become warriors and lead in all spaces. If you look at what's happening all around the world and even locally, right? Like in our churches, in our workplaces, and our families, women are not equally represented in leadership and in power and resourcing. And so we want to help correct that. We want to help to see women be in those equal spaces. So we're all about activating women to live and lead with wholeness and to do that in full partnership with men. It's not just a feminist movement of like, let's take over the world. Like we really believe that we need to do that with men, that when we can do that in partnership and in equality with each other, the world is a better place. So we've got a lot of work to do in order to see more of that happen.
I mean, not to be more specific, but I mean, how exactly do you do that? Is it coaching or?
Yeah, we do coaching. I've been a certified coach for 7 years. And so we've started really with that part of it, one-on-one coaching, group coaching for women. And we've got a team of coaches now that are trained and certified. But we also do spiritual direction, and we've got some transformational resources that we've just released throughout this whole COVID period of time. So we've got a whole bunch of things that we want to do, but we're still super new. So we're building the foundation. We're laying the framework for what it is that we want to be about as we can help women to lead in all of those spaces.
So how did you get into this?
Oh my gosh. It's a long, crazy story. The short version of it is I spent 17 years in pastoral leadership at two of the most influential churches in the country. And then 6 years ago, just realized, had like a kind of a pattern interruption where I knew that I needed to do something different. And I didn't know exactly what that looked like. So for the next 5 years, I ended up consulting, coaching, speaking all over the world, and working with leaders, predominantly in faith spaces, and helping them live and lead with wholeness, essentially, but with men and with women. And, I never would have thought I would have done a company that's for and about women, because I'm not your typical like girly girl. I I never like loved the women's retreats or women's gatherings. I never did mops when I had younger kids. Like there's a lot of the box that I didn't fit in as a woman or as a wife or as a mom. And that's exactly why this company exists now, is I think there's a lot of women like me that don't fit into the box of what we're told we're supposed to be and what we've been told we're supposed to do in this world. And so it really birthed out of this holy discontent and out of this sense of what I wanted didn't exist for me. And I wanted more than like inspirational quotes on social media. I wanted more than like a personality driven company. I wanted to develop, to link arms with a company of women and of men that are all about this wholeness idea and this partnership idea better. And so yeah, I really like, I launched this company in all of the ways people say not to do it. We didn't have a vision statement. We didn't have values. We didn't have a business plan. I didn't have a financial model. I barely had a website right before we launched. Like I had a name. I had this general vision and this kind of angst, these senses of all that's not right in the world and things that I wanted to be different, and a really rudimentary website and 20 plus years of leadership experience, and training and speaking that I had. But I launched it because I sensed that I needed to build a company in the company of other men and women, and to not have it be like my thing. It wasn't the April Diaz show. This word Azer is a Hebrew word for warrior, for rescuer, for strong helper. And so I wanted to be able to do that, plus a company of other women and men. So that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. What kind of struggles did you have in creating Ezer and Company?
Well, I've never launched anything from scratch. I realized about a year and a half ago, I have spent 20 years designing other people's visions and developing them, birthing them, growing them, but all with a salary and benefits and a team and resources that came behind me and just said, we'll put these things together for you so that you can develop this vision. But I have never done any of that from scratch. I've never been a business owner. I have had entrepreneurial gifts, but it's never kind of risen and fallen on me. So that's been challenging to like put a CEO business hat on and figure out how do you actually build a company, not be an independent contractor, not be a self-employed, one-off person, but to really build something that is meaningful with other people. So I think that's been the biggest thing, is just all of the business stuff that I've needed to learn, and to do it without the safety net.
Of course. What about victories? I'm sure you have quite a few of those.
Yeah, it's been really beautiful to see the resonance that people have, both women and men, of this is it. Like, this is exactly what we need. We need women to rise up and to be warriors and to not play small or hide. We believe that there's a transformational pathway that women can enter into. And like, they're just the sense of, we're not supposed to be in any sort of box. We're supposed to live our life fully, is how we have been created and gifted. And it's not prescriptive in any way. So that resonance has been huge. We have coached a whole ton of people. We've done a few coaching groups. We started the spiritual direction aspect just within this last 6 weeks during COVID as well. We developed a couple of resources that have been a huge win. So it's been really fun, and it's been really energizing to see folks go, I've wanted this and I never knew it could exist.
That's amazing. So you were speaking about coronavirus, this lovely little thing that we have.
I hate it.
Yeah, I know. We're filming this at what, 8 weeks in? It's almost
A million
feels
weeks
like
in.
it. I think we're week 6 or 7 right now.
Yeah.
So it's been over a month. How has that affected your business? I'm sure, like
Huge.
all of us.
Yeah, huge. Well, a good bit of the work that I did before I started Ezer and Co was travel related. So I have still been building a bridge from that income source base into a sustainable company. And so a good bit of my work and income and our revenue has been through me speaking and consulting, which means getting on planes and being in large groups and being on large stages. And so, I mean, within the first week, we lost about 75-80% of our revenue because all of those things for the next, I mean, through July at this point, all of that stuff was pretty much immediately canceled. So it's been
How did you
hugely
overcome it?
challenging.
So,
Well,
what are ways that you've adapted? Because that's the biggest thing right now is pivoting and adapting to the
mhm.
situation.
Yeah, I mean, I spent about a week really sad and really overwhelmed because at that same time, distance learning started and kids, schools got shut down. We've got 3 kids in elementary school, and my husband got a promotion at work that same week, which is a whole different new learning curve for work and responsibility for him. So there's just been 1,000 new things. And in the so that first week, I was just really overwhelmed and really disappointed and feeling like I don't even know how you build a company that's so baby new in the midst of all of this unknown and uncertainty and all of this stuff shutting down. Now, thankfully, I think it's the best time to be an entrepreneur because entrepreneurs naturally are creating, designing, looking at the needs of what people have and looking to figure out how do you help solve some of those problems or lead them towards something better. And so after that first week of just crying and sad and overwhelmed, I gathered some teams together. And it's one of the things that I'm best at and love the most. And so we figured out 5 different things that we were going to do in order to pivot. We do coaching certification training, and I do that with a partner. So he and I went from doing it live in Chicago in a couple of weeks to doing it online and recrafted how we would do that. And the response was fantastic. And so we're already 3 weeks into that whole certification process for a whole new group of coaches because they know they want to be prepared for when we get through this and folks are wanting to know how do you get from where you are to where you want to be. We created 2 rite of passage experiences for teenagers that are graduating from high school because they're losing these once in a lifetime opportunities, these milestones of prom and graduation. And so the youth pastor in me who, worked at a church for a really long time, I know how to do that. I know what it looks like to help families and teenagers to reclaim things that have been lost. So a couple teams of people put together these rite of passage experiences. And then we also put together really like just 30-day packages for coaching and for spiritual direction to help folks in groups figure out how they wanted to move forward and into this whole experience. So we did all that in the span of about 3 weeks and are now offering it and connecting with people. And so, it's not like selling like gangbusters, but there's been resonance and there's been I think a sense of this is a company that wants to listen to the needs of the people and provide actually valuable, beneficial things so that I can be transformed and be more whole.
Is that some? Are those going to be permanent changes that you can actually offer and add to your arsenal of
Yeah.
services?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the really big benefits is the team. Up until the lockdown, Ezer and Co, I would always say it's we, because I do believe that it's this company of warriors and allies, but we was just me, myself, and I, like at my desk, in my office, in my house. And now we've got a team of coaches and we've got a team of spiritual directors. And I've got, a team of people that have worked out these resources that we're offering. And so that feels like the most significant value internally that will allow us to be able to move forward. So will we still offer the 30-day things that we did? Obviously, the rite of passage experiences are going to change after this class of 2020 graduates. But the different teams that are doing different work is really where I sense, this will give us a lot more mileage and ability to gain some traction and draw more people into the work that we're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Were you on the same boat where it's like the initial shock of the lockdown and then just gives you a week to sort of trying to figure out what to do and then jump
Yeah.
into it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was just really disorienting and kind of on a weird level too. I got really, really sick for about 10 days before COVID went, you know, as viral as it is. And so I was already kind of in this weird recovery place and in a really shut down place needing to recover. So I think that this quarantine thing certainly has lasted longer for me, but it's given me even more of a runway to be thinking through how do we need to shift and what are some of the things that we're going to need to do differently longer term, especially if people can't get on planes or if I can't get on large stages and we're going to have to do work virtually, which is we've been doing. We're already a national company. We've got folks that are connected to our community from all over the world. And so I think that, yeah, it's creating some space for us to just think at it through a different angle rather than the end is still the same. Our anthem is still the same. What we're about isn't changing, but how we go about that is still, I think, some of the work that we are doing.
So the show is about boss mamas, and you're a mama. And I'm the thing that I'm sure a lot of people want to know is how do you balance motherhood with running a business? I mean,
Yeah.
you can talk about before COVID and during COVID as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so before it was great. I mean, our kids are 8, 10, and almost 12. So it's a lot easier now than it was when they were littler. I have an incredible husband who has been really the stable foundation for our family. So he's been the one that's predominantly picked up kids from school and dropped them off and, run homework and all of that kind of stuff. So it's allowed me to really be an entrepreneur and to build a business. His belief in me and the work that we're doing is unsurpassed. And so that partnership with him is really part of the dream of this company and what allows it to flourish. But certainly when we found out that school is going to be canceled for the rest of this year, we just went like, man, we were supposed to have a 1-week spring break and it's turned into a 5-month spring break. And I don't know how we're going to do that because our kids, all of our kids have trauma. And so parenting traumatized kids just is kind of like a whole different level in conversation. And we just had no idea how we would really manage that. And we're still figuring a lot out, honestly. But how do I say this? My primary commitment is to raise world changers and to see my kids live and lead with wholeness themselves. I believe in Mother Teresa's quote that the best way to change the world is go home and love your family. And we're all home now. There's a chance for us to love our families in ways that maybe we haven't been able to up until now. And so I'm really committed to first and foremost helping my kids through this process, emotionally, mentally, practically, physically with distance learning. So I'm spending a good bit of my week as a distance learning manager and IT director and a child psychologist and short order chef. Like my work has really shifted to the mothering, which has quite honestly been really hard for me. It's not what I signed up for. I'm not a great stay-at-home mom, but it's what's needed right now. And I am trusting in the process that what I'm learning in this space right now will pay itself out in dividends within the company because I'm experiencing and learning what all sorts of moms are right now. And so I feel like I'm working at about 25% capacity, and that looks like working on the couch next to my kids and we're all on our screens doing our own separate work and I get interrupted 500 times a day. And then they finish their work right about now and I can work for about 3, 4, 5 more hours. And so my work has had to be a lot more concentrated and focused and prioritized because I don't have a full school day to do my work anymore. So I don't know. I don't have like any sort of magic bullet, but we're flexing and figuring out every day because the needs of our kids are changing. And even as like what's happening with this pandemic is changing every single week and we figure out, a new bit of things, we're having to stay really, really flexible.
Yeah, I've become a dance coach for some reason this pandemic.
That sounds way more fun than IT director. That's my title.
That too, IT director, Dad, the internet's down. That's,
Gosh.
yeah. I know exactly how that feels. Now, I'm closing off. I mean, what one piece of advice do you want to give to business mamas and people who want to be, or mothers who want to get into business?
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of a two-pronged question, so I'm going to answer it in two ways. The first is I very much believe that our kids help to find their dreams by seeing their parents live theirs. And so it has been really, really beautiful and powerful for my kids to see me working. For me to tell them, I need an hour, you can't interrupt me. You're going to need to wait on your schoolwork because I have this thing that I'm doing and it's important. And to be able to explain to them like what it is that I'm doing and why it's important. I feel like it is setting the table for them to find their dreams. In fact, my daughter, who is 10, she wants to start a part of this company called Azer Girls because she wants girls to know that they are strong and powerful and can make a difference in this world. And she wants that because she is seeing me live that out and because she is seeing me pursue something that is courageous and hard and incredibly fun and really challenging, right? So I think that that's the first part. Like that's it's so important to me, and I think that that's part of the gift of what this season can bring. I think what I would say to other boss mamas is give yourself tons of grace and shift your expectations, shift your metrics of what it looks like to do your work right now, because honestly, the most important work that we have to do is the work that is within us. And that right now probably looks like a lot of grief and loss and anxiety and uncertainty and loss of control. And being able to do that work internally for us is critical for us to be able to do our work externally in the companies that we're building and the children that we're raising. But we have to do that if we're going to live and lead with wholeness.
That's great. Thank you, April, for just spending a little bit of time and definitely an inspiration, not just to me, but to everybody watching or listening. 6 feet away.
I got all passionate. And my throat's all tickly because I was on it. I was in it.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Yeah.